Whenever the schedule came out back in March, this game, Texans at Chiefs, Week 6, is one of the ones everyone circled on the calendar. Patrick Mahomes versus Deshaun Watson, the two best young quarterbacks in the NFL. And honestly, I don't think it's close. I think the next closest guy is probably Carson Wentz. But everyone else, they're leagues below Patrick Mahomes and Watson. And we finally get to watch it. Now, let me address this before we get into the actual matchups and stuff. Some Texans fans think we stand no chance. They think we're going to get blown out and, all this loser talk. That is absurd. To think the Texans stand no chance against these Chiefs is funny. I'm not going to guarantee a win. I hardly ever guarantee a win. But to say the Texans stand absolutely no chance against these Chiefs, it's laughable. People are acting like this Chiefs team. Like their defense is the 85 Bears. No. The Chiefs have one of the worst defenses in the NFL. Texans fans, if you guys think our defense is bad, if you guys think our secondary is bad, the Chiefs' defense is worse. They can't stop the run. They can't stop the pass. They're terrible. So to say the Texans are going to get blown out, they stand no chance, it's just dumb, honestly. So quit saying that. I'm not going to say we're going to go in there and blow them out or anything. But to say we're going to get blown out, no. That don't happen with Deshaun Watson. We don't get blown out with Deshaun Watson, so stop saying that. These aren't the Matt Schaub era Texans. These are the Watson Texans. These guys, no matter what, they're in every game until the very end. Now, let's move on. The Chiefs, they're currently 4-1. They lost last week versus the Colts, and that still pisses me off, man, because everybody's running around, oh my god, the Colts are the best team ever, they upset the Chiefs, they provided the blueprint to beating the Chiefs, the Colts, Colts. No. I said it in my Week 5 recap video, and I'll say it again. The only reason the Colts beat the Chiefs is because the Chiefs were pretty much hurt. I mean, Hill was missing. Sammy Watkins was missing. Eric Fisher, their left tackle's hurt. They lost an offensive lineman in the game. They lost Chris Jones, their only good defensive player, or only elite defensive player. And then he had Patrick Mahomes playing on one leg because of an ankle injury. So, yeah. Now, when the Texans play the Chiefs, Tyreek Hill will most likely be back. Kinda hoping he's not, but he'll probably be back. Sammy Watkins, he's dealing with a hamstring injury, so you don't really know about that one. Eric Fisher, their left tackle, will most likely be out. And Chris Jones, their defensive tackle, elite defensive tackle, is also going to be out. And Mahomes' injury, his ankle injury, it looked pretty bad. I honestly thought that the Chiefs should have sat Mahomes after his lineman stepped on his foot because he was throwing ducks out there. I don't think Mahomes is going to be 100% for this game against the Texans. So, yeah, obviously he's going to play, He's not going to sit out. But I doubt he's going to be 100% because that ankle injury, he was out there limping around, throwing ducks, couldn't even move around in the pocket. He didn't look like Mahomes. Okay, so here's the blueprint to limiting Patrick Mahomes. And this blueprint was provided by, you could say, the Lions. Here's what you gotta do to him. Keep him in the pocket. Do not let him make these crazy plays outside of the pocket where he's running around and, throws it across the field, across his body for 60 yards. You can't let him do that. Keep him in the pocket, and you have to run man coverage. The Chiefs receivers, for whatever reason, they struggle with man coverage. They struggle getting separation. So, Romeo Crennel, you gotta stop running zone coverage because, like you guys know, Romeo Crennel these days, he mostly runs zone coverage. So, I'm not sure if Crennel's gonna keep running his thing and be stubborn, which I'm pretty sure he will, or if he's actually gonna go with what the Lions and Colts did last week. So hopefully he goes with what works instead of doing what he wants to do. Now, let's get into these matchups. Let's start off with the Chiefs offense versus the Texans defense. Let's start off with the run game, how we usually do. I expect the Texans to completely shut down the Chiefs' run game. The Texans do a pretty good job of stopping the run. The Chiefs, they just aren't really all that good at running the ball, in my opinion. And honestly, it doesn't really feel like the Chiefs try to establish a run game. And if we're being honest, it's probably because they don't really need to establish a run game, because they can just have Patrick Mahomes drop back and throw the ball around everywhere. They don't need a run game. And low-key, against the Colts last week, it was like 2nd and 10 in multiple occasions, and they tried to run the ball for no gain every single time. And I understand Andy Reid was trying to protect his quarterback because he was, limping around. But still, though, you can't run the ball. You haven't been able to run the ball that well most of the season. You weren't able to run the ball against the Colts. Why in the world are you still trying to run the ball? Pissed me off, especially considering he had backup offensive linemen in, so it's only going to make things worse. Let's move on, though. The passing game. Patrick Mahomes. I expect him to completely light up our secondary. Tyreek Hill or no Tyreek Hill, Sammy Watkins or no Sammy Watkins. I just don't think the Texans have the speed on the back end of their defense to stop the Chiefs. And that's honestly all it comes down to, in my opinion. J-Joe's old as hell. He's slow. Yeah, Roby's fast, but he ain't Tyreek Hill fast. Lonnie Johnson's pretty fast as well, but can he keep up with Sammy Watkins? What about that other rookie they picked up? What's his name? Hardman, I think. Yeah, the Chiefs just have too much speed at the wide receiver position, and I don't think the Texans have the players to keep up with them. Then you have Travis Kelce, who I do expect Travis Kelce to have more of a quiet game this week due to Tashawn Gibson being here, and Tashawn Gibson does a very good job of limiting tight ends. Like last year, Texans got torn up every single week versus the tight ends. This year, tight ends aren't really doing much to the Texans. Like last week, Austin Hooper had 5 receptions for 60 yards, and 4 of those receptions came in garbage time. So, yeah, the Texans doing a good job of stopping the tight ends, but I don't think they'll be able to stop all these wide receivers, honestly. I think they're just too fast, too much talent, and we're not good enough in the secondary, in my opinion. And even if we bring pressure, I think Patrick Mahomes will still be out there throwing these crazy passes. And our secondary, how they always kind of panic whenever the ball's in the air and they just go for the tackle instead of going for the ball. Yeah, I'd expect some of that. But let's move on to the Texans offense versus the Chiefs defense. Let's start off with the run game. I expect the Texans to completely run the ball down the Chiefs' throat. The Chiefs, they can't stop the run to save their lives. And last week versus the Colts, they lost their only elite defensive player, Chris Jones. Chris Jones is a dominant interior defensive lineman. Last week with the Falcons, we played Grady Jarrett. You saw what he was doing? Well, Chris Jones is probably a step above Grady Jarrett. They're both very good players, but I think Chris Jones is better. So if you guys saw what Jarrett was doing last week versus the Texans, well, Chris Jones would have been that and then some. But lucky for the Texans, Chris Jones is out. He will not play this game, so the Texans don't have to worry about Chris Jones wrecking things from the inside. So the Texans will easily be able to run the ball down the Chiefs' throat. They haven't been able to stop the run all year. I mean, just look at last week. The Colts literally beat them by just running the ball on them. Now imagine the Chiefs trying to stop the run this week when they have Deshaun Watson that they actually have to worry about. Think about it. Last week against the Colts, Brissett, he sucks. All he does is throw checkdowns. So the Chiefs can literally put 8-9 guys in the box to stop the run. And they still couldn't stop the run. Now imagine them having to worry about Deshaun Watson beating them over top. So they can't put 8, 9, 10 guys in the box to stop the run. Because then Deshaun Watson's just going to throw it over top of them. And, they're going to get beat. So the Texans should have plenty success running the football against this Chiefs defense. Now for the passing game. Deshaun Watson should have a field day. The Chiefs will be without their only elite pass rusher in Chris Jones. Yes, some people will mention Frank Clark, but personally, I don't think Frank Clark is all that. I think he's good, but he's not great. I think Tunsil will easily erase him from the game. I mean, Tunsil has gone up against better players, Calais Campbell, and other players like that, Joey Bosa, Melvin Ingram. Frank Clark isn't as good as them, so I expect Tunsil to completely erase Frank Clark from the game. And even if they move Frank Clark to play on Titus Howard, Howard has also been balling out. It's time to give Titus Howard some credit, man. Time to give the O-line some credit. Honestly, time to give Mike Devlin some credit, man. I thought Mike Devlin was complete trash, but hey, so far O-line's been looking good this season. It's improved a lot. Maybe we were just wrong about Mike Devlin. We were all praying for his downfall, but hey, here he is coaching our offensive line, and he's doing a good job so far. So yeah, I expect Deshaun Watson to have a field day. The Chiefs, they can't really generate any pass rush unless they blitz. And that's something that the Chiefs actually do quite a bit. They blitz. So Deshaun Watson better be on his A game and, get rid of the ball fast, change the protections, go for the checkdowns. Because if Deshaun Watson's there holding onto the ball all day, he's going to get hit a lot. Because the Chiefs do like to blitz. Because they're sending 6, 5 guys can't block 6. They're sending 7, 6 guys can't block 7, or, all that. So it's up to Watson to get rid of the ball on time if the Chiefs do choose to blitz. But I don't think the Chiefs will really be able to blitz in this game because the Texans just have way too many weapons. D-Hop, Fuller, Kiki, maybe Kenny Stills comes back this week, the tight ends. And the Chiefs, honestly, in the secondary, they don't have anyone that can cover any of our weapons. Everyone in their secondary is pretty bad. Maybe Kendall Fuller, but he's nothing special. I mean, they just brought in, what's his name, Breeland this offseason. He's nothing special. They got back Morris Claiborne from suspension, and he's nothing special. None of those guys can stop any of our guys, pretty much. Tyrann Mathieu, they signed him to a $14 million contract a year. The guy, I mean, we saw him play last year. He's not very good. And if he's going to be in charge of tight ends, then our tight ends are going to be having a field day on them. So, yeah, I expect Deshaun Watson to have a field day on this Chiefs defense. Now, the keys to the game if the Texans want to win. Number 1, keep Mahomes in the pocket. Don't let him run around and do all this crazy stuff. And pressure him. You know, you can't let him sit in the pocket, like on a clean pocket all day. But definitely pressure him. But try to avoid him escaping the pocket and making off the script plays, you know? Next thing. Man coverage. You know, I understand we don't really got the speed to cover Tyreek Hill, Sammy Watkins, and all those weapons, but there's a reason why you got safeties, you know? If you gotta do something like put, I don't know, Roby on Sammy Watkins and then J-Joe on Tyreek Hill with Justin Reed over top, you know? Something like that. Obviously, one-on-one, I don't think the Texans secondary stands a chance, but that's why we have safeties. Utilize them. Next thing, and last thing. Drain the clock. Eat up the clock. Go on long time consuming drives. This Chiefs defense will not be able to stop the Texans. They won't be able to stop the run game. They won't be able to stop Deshaun Watson. The Texans offense should be able to do whatever they want to this Chiefs defense. So take your time. Drain the clock. Keep Mahomes on the bench. That's what you want to do. Now for my prediction. I'm predicting 37-34 Chiefs win. Okay, look. I think Deshaun Watson and the offense will ball out all day. But unfortunately, I see this game ending just how the Saints game ended, just how the Patriots game ended, just how the Eagles game ended, just how the Seahawks game ended. Mahomes will get the ball last, and I think he'll drive down the field and end the game. I just don't think Cornell and this Texans secondary will be able to stop Patrick Mahomes. I think this game will turn into a shootout, and I think the Chiefs will be extra motivated to win after last week's loss to the terrible Colts, you know? Everybody thought the Chiefs were going to blow out the Colts, but, you know, the Chiefs laid an egg, I guess you could say, against the Colts, and I'm pretty sure the Chiefs are going to be looking to rebound after that terrible loss. They're going to be extra motivated, and they're at home as well. And honestly, if the Chiefs would have beat the Colts, I think the Texans would have won this game. I think the Texans would have been the team to, you know, take the Chiefs off the undefeated ranks. But unfortunately for the Texans, the Chiefs just overlooked the Colts last week and they lost. So now this week, they'll be extra motivated to win. Especially the Chiefs offense after only scoring 10 points or 13 points versus a terrible defense. So, yeah. I think Patrick Mahomes ends up with the ball last. But hey, if Deshaun Watson ends up with the ball last, then the Texans win. To say the Texans don't stand a chance, that's dumb in my opinion. The Texans definitely stand a chance against the Chiefs, but unfortunately, it's just a gut feeling. I think Patrick Mahomes ends up with the ball last. But I'm going to just say this. Team that ends up with the ball last, whether it's Deshaun Watson, whether it's Patrick Mahomes, whoever has the ball last will win this game. I think it'll be a fun game to watch. I think it'll be a shootout. And I think this game should have been on Sunday Night Football. So, yeah. Anyways, those are my predictions for the week. Comment down below your own predictions. And, yeah, be sure to like and subscribe. Thank you for watching, and I'll catch you guys later. Peace.